Hello, my name's Nelson from Holman RV in Eastgate. I'm here to give you a walkthrough on a Cougar. This is a Cougar fifth wheel made by Keystone, and this is the model 2100RK. So we're going to start this morning. We're going to start at the front of the camper. I have the awning out for you with your LED lights on. You can see the LEDs up in the right at the edge of the camper. Now this is a sunshade, not a rain shade, so if it's a light rain with no wind, you're okay leaving it out. But if there's any wind at all, definitely put that in, because that will become a sail and the wind could rip that right off the side of your camper and be costly. And the front cabinet, underneath the hookup, you have your spare tire and your batteries, and this switch in the back is your battery cutoff switch. Right now it's in the on mode, and if you turn it to power off, that'll turn your battery off. Now there's always some draw from the propane carbon monoxide detector inside the camper, which I'll show you when we go inside. So even with it off, there's a safety override for that detector. This is convenient. I can show you how to tell how old your tires are. At the end of the DOT number, there's a 4-number stamp, and this one says 2222. So the first two numbers stands for the week of the year, and the last two numbers stands for the year. That works for all tires, just so you can keep track of how old your tires are. You don't want to go more than 5 years on a set of tires. On the side, it tells you your size for your tires and your PSI. So this one calls for 80 PSI in all your tires. You have 2 switches here and an extra auxiliary light. These 2 switches are for the lights up front. One is for the LED lights, and the other one is for the light above the hookup. So those are currently in the on position. You have 2 propane tanks, one on each side of your camper. On the inside, you can see a little button that's kind of pointed to the right, which if you follow this hose comes down to this tank. So this is the one that's on right now. If you do run out of propane, you just flip that lever to the other side, which that hose runs to the other propane tank on the other side of the camper. You would simply turn this one off and put the other one in the on position. Now they won't fill these in while it's in your camper. You will have to remove these two places here to undo them. Then they just screw on like your gas grill at home, and you can take these tanks anywhere to have them filled. This cabinet is one of your walk-through storage. This is the driver's side. It goes all the way through to the other side. And here are just the controls for your solar panels that are on the roof of your camper. This is in the on position, so it would be charging your battery right now as we speak. There's a light here inside of your storage area. One side flips it on continuous. The other one it's activated by a motion sensor. These are for your jacks. Now they're not labeled which one, but this one extends and retracts the front. That's for when you're hooking on and off of your truck. And the other one is your rear stabilizers. Now they're stabilizers and not jacks. We'll go back here real quick. These are the stabilizers I was talking about. So those are stabilizers and not jacks. So once you get your camper level, then you put those down to just stable the back end from rocking back and forth. This is your station for your water hookup and your cable. You unscrew this, then you can run all your water hose and your cable through the bottom so that you can close the compartment. This is just a quick disconnect outside shower. This is where you would hook up a hose for your pink stuff to do your own winterization. This switch is your bypass for your water heater. So when you winterize it and you flip it to the on position, that's to pull the antifreeze through this with your hose in it. But your camper has been de-winterized right now, so it is in the off position, and your freshwater holding tank is full currently. Now if you're at a campground and you have city water connection, this is where you would run your garden hose to, and then you don't have to use your water pump. You only need your water pump, which the switch is inside. I'll show you here shortly. But when you're running off your freshwater holding tank, you'll have to use your water pump. This is for your black tank flush. Just make sure that you read the caution label, because you do have to be hooked up either to a sewer at your campsite or at the dump station, and have the black tank lever pulled before you can put water in through here. Otherwise it's going to go up through your toilet and make a big mess. These are also your controls for your sewer tank. Your sewer hookup is right there. So once you're hooked up either at the dump station or at your campsite, then you can drain your tanks. You would drain your black one first, that way it gets rid of all the toilet waste first, and then pull the gray one. The gray one will help rinse your hose after you've put the black tank through it. Also, this is for your cable. It is satellite ready, which means if you add a satellite to the roof of your camper, you would run this to the satellite portion, and then it would automatically hook up on the roof to your satellite dish. For cable TV, you simply put your cable into the cable spot. Once you run it here, everything inside runs off of the same cable. It is also wired for an additional solar panel, and this is where you would fill your fresh water tank. Simply put your garden hose in here and fill it until it's full. It'll either spit back out here at you or the overflow. Now the freshwater holding tank drain is right behind your front axle. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get it on this camera or not, but there's a valve, there's a blue hose that runs down there. That's to drain your freshwater holding tank. You also have an additional gray tank for your kitchen area, so you would hook up back here for it to drain. So your kitchen area, your kitchen sink runs into a separate gray tank. This is your 50 amp hose, or 50 amp electric connection. So with 50 amp you can run both air conditioners. Right now we have it hooked up to a 30 amp. So we have this, some people call it a dog bone, some people call it it just converts it from a 50 amp to a 30 amp. Now with 30 amp you can only use one air conditioner. You already have your temporary tag on there. We'll finish up the side. You do have some outside speakers, so when you're running the radio inside, if you hit zone 2, it'll come to the outside speakers. Zone 1 is your inside speakers. This is just the outside access for your tankless water heater. Now there's nothing special to winterize for this. The directions for this say to simply winterize, but make sure that you winterize as soon as it starts freezing weather, because these thin copper pipes are susceptible to cold more than just the regular PEX tubing that's throughout the rest of your camper. This is the other access. And you saw that light click on by movement. So that if you set a table here on the outside of your camper, you can set another TV, run another cable into here and plug it in, and you can have outside television. And in the front, this is just that other side propane tank that I was telling you about. Now there won't be keys for the propane tanks. They remain accessible all the time, so there will be no keys for the lock for the propane panels. You have 3 keys on yours. on your set of keys. The purple ones are for the door, which this bottom one is just a somewhat of a deadbolt lock, and the top one locks the handle itself. The gray keys are for your front storage compartments, and the silver key that's hanging here we call a 751 key. That's for the freshwater holding tank. There's a small brown box on the other side where I showed you to put the garden hose to fill your freshwater holding tank. Now, to do your steps, your door has to be all the way open. These steps lift all the way up, and they have to make clearance there, and they lock into position. To unlock them, simply move that lever and pull. If you need to adjust them, you pull the pin and adjust it for the height that you need. When you adjust these steps, just make sure they're at least level or in the down position, because if they're not down far enough, this may interfere with the closing of your door. We're ready to go inside. Your kitchen's all the way in the back. You have a residential refrigerator. We have a couch bed. We have your dinette and your television. Television's on right now. I'm going to turn this air down so that we can hear a little better. There we go. So when you first come inside the door, there's a panel on the right side. This has your ceiling lights in the camper, and then it also has your awning lights that we were talking about. This is your awning extend and retract, and this is for your slide out, in and out. Now, before you touch that button, just make sure that you have clearance where it's going to slide in and out on both sides, because if anything's blocking those, you could do some damage. Especially if this oven door is open, you can see that the slide out's going to go right into it. So make sure that you have clearance before you move that slide out in or out. I'm going to close this door. Alright, we'll turn the ceiling lights back on. Now you have a separate switch for the lights that's in your slide out. It's over here. You also have some USB ports for chargers. Okay. For your sink, just remove the covers and you pull it and extend, and you can also change the flow. Put those back. On your stove, when you're traveling, make sure that this glass cover is in the down position. If not, if you hit a bump and this glass falls, it's going to hit this cast iron and it's probably going to shatter. There's a little light switch here on the right. If you flip it up, it just lights up the panels for your switches. If you flip it down, it lights these up, and it's your oven light. To light this, you simply turn the burner to where the flame is, and you click it just like you do your gas grill. You also can notice that the light turns red instead of blue. So at a glance, if they're all blue, you know that there's no gas going through. Your other burners work just the same way. Now for your oven, make sure that your oven door is open. And then this is the one for the oven. You would turn it to the flame, and now you have to light a pilot light. So this now works similar to a gas fireplace. You have to hold in on the button for about 15 to 20 seconds to get the gas to flow through that pilot light. And then you would click the same clicker, the same igniter switch, and it would light the pilot light. Once you get the pilot light lit, then you can turn it to one of the numbers and the whole panel lights up for your heat for your oven. For your refrigerator and freezer, they're locked in position when closed. Every time you open them, you'll kind of hit a release that opens them up for you. Now right now we're in the off-grid mode, so you want it on level 2 or 3 when you're traveling down the road. Once you get plugged into your 50 amp or 30 amp, you can turn that up to a higher position to make your refrigerator colder. The same for your freezer. And it's good and cold right now, working well. Your couch bed, you simply pull off the top cushions. Try this one-handed. Okay, this folds out. You can see the legs that fold down. And then the back folds down to fill in that back third. So that's your bed. Okay, this is the carbon monoxide and propane detector I was telling you about. That's the one that's hardwired to your battery and bypasses your on-off, your cutoff switch. So that will always be on unless you totally disconnect the battery at the terminal. If you have any electrical issues, anything in the kitchen that won't run off your plugs, check the GFI in the bathroom first, hit the reset, and if that's not the issue, then you come down here to your electrical panel. Pop it open. We have circuit breakers just like at your house, and it's labeled what they're for. And to the right, there's the 12-volt fuses, just like your car, and it's labeled what they are as well. And there's a little panel to the right that a light will come on and show you which one was burnt out, if you have one that's burnt out. Your heat will come out the brown ducts that are close to the floor, or the actual vents that are in the floor. And your air conditioning, not only does it come out at the air conditioner, but it also comes out of the white ceiling vents as well. Got 4 of them in here and a couple in your bedroom. Okay, for your radio, it's in this cabinet to the left of the TV. You have a separate remote for that and a remote for your smart TV. And once you have volume going, you can see right now it says zone 1. Now if no zones are on, it's not going to play. So if you think that it doesn't have power, make sure you have one of the zones on. So zone 1 is inside, zone 2 adds outside. We'll go ahead and turn that off for the rest of the tour. Now your TV is on a swivel, so you can pull it out and angle it toward the kitchen for viewing. But when you travel, make sure it's pushed all the way in, and there's a strap that goes around to keep it from coming out. As you go up the steps, there's a little motion sensor on some, there we go. Motion sensor turns that light on for you to make it easier going up and down the steps. This door's to your bedroom. Then you have a pocket door for the bathroom, and just make sure that it's fastened when you travel so that it doesn't slide back and forth when you hit the brakes and accelerator. So just remove that, and this slides up to a magnet for the latch. Inside we've got a decent size shower, big compared to most. You have a porcelain toilet, and to operate it, you push the foot pedal to flush. This is also where you would add your blue chemicals to break down the waste in the black tank. Now here's your water heater control. When we first hit the power button, it'll light up, So right now it's set at a max of 124 degrees. You can increase or decrease that by pushing up or down. Now when we operate it, to get hot water, you can't turn both on at the same time. Turn the hot one on first, and then once you're getting hot water, then add cold for your desired temperature that you feel. So when you turn it on, that's the hot only. So now you can see the gas lights up and it starts heating up your temperature of your hot water. So now we feel good in hot water, and we can add cold to reach the temperature that you want. So just make sure you turn hot on first, get your desired temperature, and then add your cold. Good storage cabinet. Now to the bedroom. Now there's a light above the bed that there's a center button right in the center to turn it on and off. And you have a separate light switch for the other two lights in the bedroom. This is your second air conditioner. There's no thermostat for it, but you have the, you have a thermostat switch and an on-off button here. There's no thermostat or control on the wall for this one. You have USB ports and electric on both sides, and there's also some under the bed storage. You have a big cabinet over here for hanging clothes, and 3 more drawers. Lots of storage in this unit. Okay, let's go back out to the other control. This is just above the steps. You have a control panel up here. Now if I hit the battery button, you can see that all 4 lights come on to show you that it's a full charge. You have a freshwater holding tank that's full of water right now. Your black is empty, your first gray is empty, and your second gray is empty. And this is the control for the water pump. You only need that when working off of the freshwater holding tank. If you're hooked up to city water, you don't need to turn that on at all. This is the thermostat for your heat and your air conditioning. The first time that you hit the mode button, it lights it up for you. Now you have, I don't know if you can see it or not. Okay, we just hit into what's called the dry mode. The dry mode is like a dehumidifier. So it doesn't use the compressor on the air conditioner. So if it's not real hot outside and it's just humid, you may want to use the dry mode. Or you can go to cool. This one also controls your heat. So now you can hear the difference. The AC just kicked on for cool, and you simply hit the up or down buttons to make it cooler or hotter. I like to let the system turn off. To turn it off, you push and hold, and that turns everything off. Now to turn it, let's try out the heat so you can see what it's doing. Push and hold again and it comes on. So now we're in the heat mode. So we'll listen for it to kick on. Let's make sure we got it in the right spot here. Alright, when you turn it into heat mode, the first thing you'll hear is the fan, and then after about 30 seconds it'll click and light the fire for your furnace. Then when you shut it off, it's the same but opposite. The flame will go off first, and then you'll continue to hear the fan until the whole system shuts down. So being as how it's summer and a hot, humid day, I'm going to switch it back to a cool mode. Here we go. You have a really deep pantry. Plenty of extra storage. Oh, your residential microwave, separate fan and light over the stove. And I think that's it for this tour. So have a great day and enjoy your camping.